Hello, everyone. We are back for episode 18. We're excited to be here. And this week we've got a very special guest on our end. We've got Addison Oakes. She is with Addison Social Co. And she actually does all of our social media. So we're excited to be here with her. And it's going to be a fun episode. I think this is going to be a lot of value for our listeners. And it's going to be a fun one for everybody to listen to because we're going to ask basically our most frequent questions. So questions that we get mostly on social media, but also on sales calls that we have or just from realtors, all kinds of stuff. So we're going to try to answer a handful of those questions. And if you guys like this format, please let us know, but we're expecting this to be a good one and maybe we can do more of them in the future. So we're excited and very excited to have you on the podcast, Addison. So thank you for taking the time this morning to be here. And you want to tell us, just to start off, a little bit about you and let the listeners know who we've got?
Yeah, so I'm Addison, like Steven said, and I actually just recently started my own social media agency, and Brevin Homes is one of my clients. I do platform management for all different kinds of social media platforms as well as content creation, and I just really help different companies build up their brand and establish their online presence. So, yeah, we do get a lot of questions in the DMs, and I'm sure you have some different ones that you've heard on sales calls and stuff. So I'm excited to get through them.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, you do a fantastic job at what you do. So we're glad to have you. Any of your other clients or future clients should be very glad to have you as well. So, yeah. We'll jump into it. Basically, I think what we're going to do is have Addison ask some questions, and then maybe I'll flip the script and I'll ask you a couple. But I think that's how we should do it. So we've got questions already written down, and we'll just kind of run through it that way. So, yeah, back to you. You want to hit the first question?
All right. The first one that we have is, can a custom builder build on my lot? And then there's a second part that kind of goes with it. How does the lot and land situation work?
Yep. That's a good one to kick it off because, yeah, that's where most people start. You know, they either have a lot or they're looking for a lot to build their home on. And so a lot of people aren't familiar with, is that the builder's responsibility? Is that my responsibility? Do I come with the lot? Does the builder come with the lot? So I hate to say it this way, but it kind of depends on the builder and the area that you're building in, I want to say, because here in Texas and the way we do it is typically we'll build on clients' lots. So we'll either help them find a lot through the facility of a realtor, or we can even help them find a lot that matches their needs and their budget and everything else that they're looking for. But it's generally a really good idea to get the builder involved before the lot is even considered, and definitely before it's closed. The worst thing that we've seen is clients will get a lot before they even have a home designed, before they even have a builder selected, and then they'll rope a builder in later, and the builder has to be the bad guy that comes in and says, this lot's not going to work for what you want to build on it. So never a fun conversation, but something that can be avoided if a builder is roped in early. Now, that's the most common way, is to have the client purchase the lot and then the builder will build on their land. But that's not to say that that's how it all goes. I mean, sometimes we have lots in our inventory, and I know some other builders do as well. And if somebody approached us and, wanted to have a pretty quick build, we could hand a lot over that we own basically and let somebody build on one of our lots, our home. So yeah, it's can go either way, but I hope that answers the question pretty well for people that are listening.
Yeah, I'm going to start taking notes for when the time comes for me. Who knows when that will be.
And I think that's good. You are a great outside perspective for us, because if I'm talking and it doesn't make sense, then I hope that you can let me know that so that everybody else is on the same page.
Okay, let's go to the next one. What is the difference between a custom home builder and a production volume builder?
Yep, that's one we get pretty frequently. And I think it's mostly people that have never really explored or aren't too far down the custom home building process or even just the home building process. But it's a good question and definitely something that needs to be distinguished. So a production builder or a volume builder would be, I'm trying to think of some of the big ones in the country, maybe KB or Lennar Homes or DR Horton. Those are some of the production builders. Pulte Homes is a big one that's nationwide. So those builders, they will build you a home a lot of times, but they won't let you customize anything about that home. They'll build it, to their details, their dimensions, their floor plans. You have to pick from one of their floor plans. And a lot of times it has to be on one of their lots with production builders. They'll build in specific neighborhoods and they'll build 50% of the homes in that neighborhood. So some people, not necessarily me, but some people will call these neighborhoods cookie cutter neighborhoods. A lot of the homes end up looking like gingerbread houses or a lot of duplicate copies because they do. They'll recycle 4 or 5 floor plans all around the neighborhood. So they change the front elevation sometimes a little bit just to make it look a little different. But overall, you could have the same home as 5, 6, 10 other people in the neighborhood. Whereas a custom builder will truly sit down with the clients and from the very beginning identify what the clients want in that home, how they want to live in that with their family, the functionality of the home. They'll plan every last detail of it, all the way down to the type of windows that they get to pick. So the homeowners can change the windows, the colors, the everything else about the home. So it's much more custom, just like it sounds, as a custom home builder. And it's good for people that want more detail and more attention and a home that truly fits their needs, as opposed to just a preset floor plan, basically from a production builder. So production builders, I do want to say they have a very important place in the market. They provide usually less expensive homes. Sometimes they can be, but they don't provide any customization. So yeah, I hope that answers that one.
Yeah, fun fact. My dad actually works for a really popular one here in the Southeast, Goodall Homes. So
Oh,
now I can talk business with him now.
there you go. Man,
He
I'm
sells for
here.
them, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to sound too biased. I mean, there is definitely a need for production homes. They fill a huge gap in the market. And it's usually budget friendly, whereas custom can be a little bit pricier, but it's because you're getting everything that you want in the home. So
Right. Makes sense.
yeah,
Okay. Third question. How should I choose a custom home builder? I think that I could maybe give some insight into this one too.
absolutely, absolutely. I would say there's a handful of ways, but of course you want to probably start your search online nowadays. I mean, there's just so many resources online. You can look at your local home building associations. They have a list of registered builders, but that's not always to say, and I just want to follow that up with, just because a builder is on the association page doesn't mean that they're a reputable or quality builder. Anybody can pay to be a member of that, and as soon as you're a member, they put your name on that page. But that's a place to start the shopping or start the search. Of course, Google. I think everybody uses Google nowadays and reads the Google reviews. But what I would say more than anything is to interview as many builders as you can, right? The more you talk to, the more you're going to learn, and you can really start to narrow it down by who you connect with and who you start to feel like you can trust. And it's just a little bit of a gut instinct as you start talking to builders, but that's all a good way. And then looking at their previous projects, is it something that you would like to see your new home look like? Because what they've built in the past is probably what they're going to build in the future. So it's good to see what their track record is and what they've done in the past. So that includes as well client referrals or references. If a home builder will let you talk to their previous homeowners, that's a good sign. And then, yeah, I think those are the big ones that pop into my head. I mean, there's other ways as well, but of course, I'll wrap this up by saying that social media is a really, really good way to search for a builder as well, because you can see everything that they're doing, right? You can get a sense of who the builder is and their personality and their business and everything about them through their social media platforms. And if they don't have a social media platform, that says a lot about them as well, right? Are they a smaller builder that doesn't have the resources or the time or whatever to dedicate to social media? Maybe that says something as well about those builders. So, what do you think, Addison? I know you see a lot of home stuff on social media, so maybe you can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, just with social media, I feel like in addition to Google, that is probably the first place that people are searching your name. So just being able to establish that connection and personable relationship with your potential customers or current customers on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you are, I think is super important because that's where people can see your personality and past projects, like you were saying, and also comment, like the comment sections and everything on Facebook, Instagram. People like to leave their opinions there as well. So that could be another place to find reviews. But I think it's like the most important aspect of social media is being able to build that relationship in your brand. So people can find you and kind of get a feel for how you are before meeting you.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think you said it well that it's more so about the brand. When you're on social media and you're searching these builders, you want to know what their brand stands for. Are they charitable? Are they giving back to the community? Is that something that's important to you? Maybe people don't, I don't know, right? Like all those little things it's all little decision makers throughout the process on, is this the right builder for you or not? And the other thing too, I would say, and I know you probably see this all the time, but I would say if you're interested in a builder, it's not a quick decision. You're not going to decide on a builder overnight most times, so follow the builder on your social media platforms, watch what they're doing over the course of several weeks, go back through what they've already posted, see how they're keeping up with things. And, I think, like you said, Addison, people can learn a lot about builders just through their social media pages. So that is why we are very grateful for you to help us build our brand online. And you've been fantastic about it. So, yeah.
Y'all make it easy.
Well, thanks.
Okay, moving on to the next question. How do you set the client's expectations properly from the beginning so that it's a pleasant and smooth building experience?
This one is something that we're constantly thinking about. And I think it really differentiates the small mom and pop non-professional builders from the, well-oiled, smooth running professional building companies. And I say that because expectations are huge and first impressions are huge. And, it starts from really kind of the social media. As soon as people find out about us, Brevin Homes, whether that's through our social medias or through a Google search, the next thing they're going to do is scroll through our social medias, see who we are, see what we're about. And then the next thing is usually booking a call with us. And so we started all the way from the very beginning. The first call that they have with us, we want to make sure that we're prompt in our response to that. We want to make sure that we're, very professional, answer the phone professionally, and are clearly communicating with them throughout the entire sales process. As we're getting to know them, they're getting to know us. And I think a lot of those things really help to put the client at ease and make them feel good about the decision to go with Brevin Homes. And so we really are never losing focus of that throughout the whole process. And expectations are so big. But I think the other thing too on expectations is that we really try to be as organized as we can and also do a ton of legwork up front throughout the entire process. We try to be proactive on everything so that we know as much as we can what's coming down the pipeline, whether it's the build or whether we have inclement weather or whatever. We're constantly looking at that stuff to readjust our schedule, for instance, and know that if we've got a week of freezing or rain or something that we can't build in, we're adjusting that schedule and talking about it with the clients as soon as possible. So that's one thing. And then as far as budget and quality and all that stuff, we want to make it really apparent to the clients of what they can expect. So we do that on the budget by being a fixed price contract builder. And I think that's helped a ton on setting expectations because money is always a topic of conversation, and fixed price really mitigates a lot of that conversation because it locks in a price for these clients so that they can feel good about the budget throughout the whole process. They know what they're looking at. It's not in question, and they never have to feel uneasy or, have it be a difficult time to go to sleep at night because they're worried about the budget. So just a couple things there, but I mean, yeah, really, it's all about planning. And I think the better you can plan and the more, I guess, organized you are throughout the whole build, and communication is key too. So we never lose sight of those things.
So speaking of money, our next question is, how does the financing work when building a custom home? I have this
Nice segue
question
there.
too.
Oh, okay. Was this your question?
No,
Either
but
way.
this is one of the big questions that I would ask when looking into building a home.
I think a lot of people do, right? I mean, that's the thing, that it's almost one of those things that it's kind of hidden. I feel like a lot of people just don't even know where to start. They don't even know what to expect as far as budget goes. Um, and so setting a proper budget is number one, but then, yeah, the financing aspect of it, we can talk about that as a part two. So part one, like you said, how do you even get to a budget or budget conversation with a builder? And it's a little bit of a back and forth game that the builder can't speak too early because they don't know, they can't read clients' minds. They don't know what the clients want in this home. Do they want, on a scale of 1 to 10 finish outs, 10 being very nice, 1 being entry level? Do these clients want a level 2 finish out or a level 9, 10 finish out? That is a completely different home and a completely different price. Also, without seeing a lot and where this home's going to sit, that's a huge variable on the lot prep, the foundation costs, all that stuff can add up really quickly. So it's really hard for a builder to just come right out of the gate and say, yep, your house is going to cost $500,000 to build, when there's so many unknown variables in it. So typically what we do is we'll ask some very high level questions up front, such as, how big is your lot? What does the topography look like? Is it heavily treed? Is it not? And then that gives us an idea of the landscape and where we're going to be building this home. And then we'll start asking questions like, what level of finish outs are you thinking? Is it a level 2 finish out, level 5, level 10? And then we can kind of put some numbers to that. And we'll typically start with a range. We'll say, just so that we don't set the wrong expectations, once again, we'll give a range of, in the past, from what we've built and what we know, we would say that your home is going to cost, let's just throw numbers out there, 500,000, no less than 500,000 to $700,000 plus, so that it's kind of an open-ended range, but we're capping it at that lower end, that there's no chance it's going lower than 500. We know that, but it could be anywhere from 500 to 700. It could also go up to 800 or 900, just depending on the selections that are picked and other unknown variables as we start getting into the build. So just an example of numbers there. So nobody hold me to those, but it's one of those things that, yeah, we try our best to know what we can at the beginning, and then the entire time throughout the preliminary building phase that we go through with our clients, we're constantly narrowing that down and tweaking it as we find out more about what they're looking for in their home and what we are able to learn about it, such as utilities that we need to bring to the lot, or lot grading or lot prep or a lot cut or things like that, that could be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of extra dollars on these builds. And it's always something we're thinking through. So I guess before I move on to the part two of that, did that make sense?
Yes, it did. I was just going to say, communication, like you said, is probably very important when it comes to finances, like throughout the whole entire process. Just being able to be transparent with your clients is probably very important, to make sure that they're not blindsided at any point when it comes to cost.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say too, I just want to add on to that, that as a client, I would say one thing that you could really do to help your builder as your shopping builders is to be very specific as much as you can be. I know it's early on in the process, usually when these conversations are occurring, but try to be as detailed as you can with what you expect in your new home. And that'll really help the builder narrow down that price from the early on talks. And then it'll continue to just get narrowed down more and more. But if you go into it saying, well, I don't really know what I want. I don't know if I want a level 2 finish out or level 8 finish out. And I don't know if I want a 3,000 square foot home or a 4,000 square foot home, or I don't know if I want a 2 car or a 4 car garage. All those variables start to add up, and it just makes your range so much bigger as a builder that I can't even tell you if this is going to be a $400,000 build or a $2 million build. There's a lot of different things there. So yeah, the more specific clients can be with us and any builder that they're going into, definitely helps expedite the process a little bit. Now, I want to say, so on the financing, so part two of this question, how does the financing work for a custom home builder? I think a lot of people wonder too, am I expected to pay cash? Is there a way that I can get a loan for this? Can I get a loan while I live in an apartment or another home? Or is that too much to finance all at once? And I'll say from our experience, and I would definitely recommend checking with a financial professional, with a loan officer, whoever, or even a bank, local credit union, whatever. We've seen the most success by partnering with local credit unions. So I would recommend that to people that are shopping out any part of the country. And then they'll help you through the whole process. You tell them the kind of home you want to build. You tell them your income, of course. You tell them your expenses. They'll do all the computing and the calculations to tell you what you can afford as far as the house. So you may have dreams of $1 million home, but unfortunately your finances might have dreams of something different, right? That might be a $600,000 cap on the home that you can build, and a bank or a lender is going to be the one to tell you that. Now, if you're paying cash, it's a little bit different story. It's going to be, um, usually a conversation with the builder and a different agreement, basically. But you're going to make sure that the builder is completing portions of the build. And as they complete portions, you're going to pay them a percentage of the completion. So if it's through frame and cornice phase, for instance, say that's 30% of the build is done. You're expected on $1 million home to pay about $300,000 up to that point. Now, give or take, builders might request more for ordering materials up to that point, or request less, if if they've been financing some of it or whatever the case is. So it's always kind of different, but cash is definitely the easiest, and I know that's not a luxury that many people can jump into. So loans are definitely something we work with more frequently, and definitely that's through the advice and through the guidance of whoever the lender is. So we kind of follow their path, and they're the ones who are making it happen. So we have to abide by their rules.
I definitely should have brought pen and paper. This is all very, very good stuff. We'll end with an easy one. Where do you guys build?
That is a good question. And I know you mentioned we get that quite often. I get that too. I mean, most of the sales calls that we get coming in are just inquiries, I would say, is a better question. People are asking that. That's the first thing they want to know. Us in particular, we build in Central Texas. We call it the Central Texas Hill Country. Now, I know that's very broad and vague to people who are familiar, but we basically cover anything West Austin. So from Lakeway area, if people are familiar, even Dripping Springs, out to Horseshoe Bay, which is a beautiful area that's about an hour west of Austin, Texas. Then we go a little bit south of that down to basically North San Antonio. So south, North San Antonio encompasses areas like Bernie and Bulverde and Spring Branch and New Braunfels and things like that. So a lot of small little areas, but basically we're covering the area between West Austin and North San Antonio. So quite a bit of range, but hopefully people that are building in Central Texas will reach out to us, and then we can always talk through projects on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, for sure.
And then hopefully
that does it. Oh,
I was going to say,
sorry.
hopefully soon we'll be able to build in Tennessee for you.
Yes, please. Or I move to Texas.
Hey, for that.
I still need to visit.
Yeah, I know that blows my mind that you haven't been.
I have a friend
But
moving to Austin, so hopefully I'll be able to see her there.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Any final questions or comments?
You answered all of the ones that I would have asked myself, so I don't have any more unless there's anything else you want to touch on.
No, I don't think so. I think on these last couple podcasts, we've been asking all of our listeners to please help us out help Addison out too, by liking us, following us, all the good stuff on social media. Um, subscribe to the podcast. And if you can, please leave us a rating or review on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast and helps us get these little education topics out to people that are in the process or wanting to build a custom home. And we'll ask for a little double whammy here, but Addison is growing her business, Addison Social Co. So if you guys could please take a minute to go support her, it would be greatly appreciated. I know Addison would like it, and it would help kickstart her business a little bit as she's getting into this whole social media thing.
Thank you. I'm based in
Yeah.
Nashville, but obviously not limited to Nashville.
No, Nashville works with builders in Texas. Don't you even work with some people in Florida?
Not anymore, but I
Okay.
used to.
Yeah. Well, nationwide. So anybody that's looking for social media, we can be the first ones to say that Addison is fantastic and does a very professional job. So definitely look her up if you're interested. Do you want to tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is addisonsocial.co, and then TikTok is Addison Social Co. We can put this in the description and the captions when we post as well.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. We'll put it in the show notes, and that'll be it. So thank
Awesome.
everybody for listening to this episode, and thank you once again, Addison, for being on.
Thank you.